The Snyderverse and the fans of the Snyderverse, should they boycott the Batman and all other DCEU projects absent of the involvement of Zack Snyder? Let's just talk. On just the talk. Let's do it, man. Look. This was something I was trying to figure out how I would want to do it. You could see me pausing a lot in the beginning because I didn't know how I wanted to approach it. Because if you know my channel, I'm not here for all the extra beef and stuff like that. But I do find a strange fascination with how people respond, especially during these times, to certain levels of stimulus and the ratcheting of the levels. Now let's get this clear. A lot of this you're seeing going on right now online with a lot of the Snyderverse people beefing and whatnot. A lot of these guys, these are grown-ups. These are grown-ups, right? And I do not knock any boycott to be had. You know, if a company's not doing something that you prefer, don't buy into it. Vote with your wallet. The question is does the circumstance warrant the level of airing out of grievances to the point that we would start like really naming people off of what you don't like that they chose to do at their job? Then there's something to be said about people that I've heard, because I listen to everyone, man, and I get it. I get a lot of where a lot of the angst comes from, and a lot of it is something that is just what we as human beings do. We live vicariously through a situation. We'll project personal angst via something that really triggered it that we're passionate about, and at some point as we get so engrossed into it, are we any longer talking about what we like? You know, like I said, I was on one of these panels that online with a lot of Snyderverse fans, which like I really enjoy. Like, even, you know, I'm like a nobody out here on this joint. So when I decided to branch out and just say, hey, let me just start talking in chats and stuff instead of just doing a YouTube out in ether, let me really engage the public. It was just cool and refreshing to really engage with channels that I was listening to and just getting a more direct conversation with them. And it was dope that they'd open up their doors for that. And on a lot of these panels, one of the panels I'm talking about, the brother actually said that people stopped rocking with Fiona, who started it. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, people are really legitimately out here in these streets beefing over this shit. Like, really? Is that what we doing? You know what I mean? Like, you throw out the lady that started the hashtag. Like, I don't even know how you do that, but okay. Did it get that personal? But at some point, it's moved far beyond what it started out to be. For some, I still think for the most part, it's at the front lobe of the film, but people are like trying out personal or exercising personal issues that they have, using the Snyderverse as a vessel for it. And also there's a certain level of immaturity that needs to really be discussed, because a lot of people want to be a lot more vile and vindictive about it. But now that we spent that time taking that out the equation, let's talk about the larger majority, those that really feel away, and those that would say, and I won't say a large majority of, but I hear this a lot. People will posture the idea of validity, ratcheting up their validity for their angst by making it seem like they have like money in stock, by referring to it as, well, I'm a paying customer. Well, you are a paying customer, but they can only deal with you in the arrogance. They can only deal with you in a group. And the group that bought in, like me, and that was really into it, it wasn't enough to what they expected or they wanted out of it. Which I think that they ratcheted up their expectations a lot more. And I think a lot of fans kind of like created the extra bullshit around it. But like, if you ever been on my channel, I've talked about it ad nausea. I just want to like pick it up a bit in the pace. I do believe that at some point it migrated past that and went into a direction that I think, like I said, people lived out, exercised a lot of angst in their personal lives, or certain things that they hated around it, and ratcheted it up. And then also there's a monetary reason for it, especially if you're of the YouTuber route, because once you catch a wave where it's fun to shit on something, that people continuously do it, and it was a bad marketing, or bad word of mouth, I should say, marketing the film before people even had the chance to give it an opportunity, and then bouncing against a proven product that's been out probably like over like I think it was 7 or 8 years in by the time Man of Steel came around. Actually, not 7 or 8, about like 5 or 6. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is, and people had way too much expectations against something that was already six years in the making, and bouncing one movie against all of what they're producing and what they're expecting and what they've already, there was no way to win that. It was an uphill battle from then on. But with that being said, we didn't buy, the money wasn't as fruitful as they expected. But again, like I said, I think they over expected, because it way performed the previous Superman that came before it, when they tried to reboot it from like earlier on and using the Christopher Reeve style. So at the end of the day, yeah, we voted with our mouths and we pushed the hashtag and we got the Snydercut out. But then if you got that volume that could bring a movie in, imagine that volume turning on itself and then fracturing. And then now a vocal minority of them are really being real antagonistic with their energy in terms of how they feel about it. Now, we could call it passion, yes, but you got to also remember the optics that people are looking at it at. That's why, like, the Snyder Cut fans, after they had a one targeted thing, when they got it, they didn't know what to do, so they flipped and said, well, we want more. That wasn't what was verbally communicated to the people when that got us here. This was supposed to be the end of it. And instead of but because people felt vindicated and wanted to bring in all this extra emotion, it started to become like it was like they needed a fight. They needed a boogeyman. So it had to be WB and Walter Armada to a level that it didn't need to go. These guys were hired for jobs to make the money. Yeah, all the crooked people, most of them are out the door. Most of them been lost their jobs. The guys that effed it over, could push back the movie and all that, they been left. That's why they forced the movie to come out when it did, so they could get their bonuses. Remember that? Kevin Sugihara came in. He caught his little situation. Then you got Walter Hamada. He comes in, redirect this whole shit. He was hired and promoted here to redirect the whole shit. So vote with your dollars. And let's be for real, a lot of the product, since he's been installed, isn't one of the best films, critically acclaimed and otherwise. And then I'm not gonna lie, I do feel like some of the press feels like it's been bought, because had it been anybody else, y'all would have made a bigger noise about the failure of the Suicide Squad with Guns movie. With as much of a high praise as you gave it from the very beginning, it didn't make the turnaround with the audience the way you say. it didn't connect the way it did with the critics. It still got a lot of press. It's still a lot of people liked it by word of mouth, and even then they stopped talking about it. But you got the Snydercut people keep talking about their own things. Now you can argue, are they fanatics? Are they weirdos? Kind of lost in the sauce about it. It's possible there's a couple, but like I said, but I don't look at it that kind of way. You could really hear that people are bringing in other types of emotions that go along with it. A lot of people found a community that they could be part of, and for them, it's deeper than just Zack Snyder and the movies. For them, it's like they're fighting for their community, because they found a community of people that feel outcast and shunned because people don't believe you crazy, that there was no cut, there's no cut. When the cut comes out and you get vindicated, it's like, yeah. Now, the shoes have turned. The aggression has flipped, and now we, the fans, are projecting that onto the populace, which is really making us look like the narrative. We are buying into a narrative that we never were designed for to begin with. As fans that pushed the hashtag, and even a rank and file, that wasn't a good representation of them. But you got these people that have fanatic tendencies, and you'll find it on both sides. This is not just a Snydercut thing. This is the anti-Snydercut people. Y'all was a couple of weirdos, because every 5 minutes it was just like the running gag. It's just like the people that overkilled videos with coming at what's the girl's name, Brie Larson, when she had a season of nothing but people just saying shit to say shit. And a lot of the rabble rousers, the reason why they did it is they're feeding off the energy of other people in the audience, but a lot of them ringlead this energy, and it starts to siphon itself off of the same people that's going to project it back. And then it becomes this weird relationship, this weird dance of people just addicted to listening to you, hate watching, will give you money. And if you notice, that's where you get most of your views, because people like the spicy stuff. And then those seem to be the ones where you get the most super chats. What you gonna do, man? This is still a business. You're no different than the WB. You are no different. And I'm going to make a separate video to really dig into that. But I want to get into this part again. So everybody that goes right into this now gets involved into this. You know what I'm saying? They don't realize that, it's cool to say F you, yeah, we were right, and now we want the Snyderverse and back, and F you, now you got the cock of the walk. Now you misrepresenting the whole community that was really all about what is it, the suicide, anti-suicide programs. The people that were peacefully demonstrating are always sending out the hashtags, flying out, release the Snydercut. Even though it was a nuisance, it was still peaceful, unantagonistic. But now F Walter Hamada, F so and so, and it seems to be fun for people to bring that energy in. And I get it. For some people, it's just more for entertainment. You're just trying to be entertaining. It's just funny how what entertains people the most is the negative energy, and we're just as much to blame for watching it. We feed that energy, we siphon it, and it's fun. I get it. It's fun. Like, yo, man, I come from fuck you shit, so it feels fun to be like, yeah, fuck you and ride. I mean, for me, I can't internet bang. It's not my twist. It's not how I could get down. I think it's kind of lame. I think it's soft. You know what I mean? Anybody could do anything online and say whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? Just so for me, I don't see the energy for all of that. And I also see it different. Like, these are people's jobs. Like, they got paid to change the universe. I don't support what they're going, with the direction that it seems like they're going into, but you know, I'm still subscribed to HBO Max, and that was really exclusively for the Snydercut, and I ain't need to do it. I could have got that and had my own copy. Like it you know what I'm saying? The DVD is out now. Like I mean, you could get it. Like, it's not. I could have seen it, but I wanted to support it with my views, with my streams, because I was pushing the hashtag. I want to say fought, like I was out here in these streets scrapping or doing even to the level what most people did. I was just like a regular dude from the very beginning that you would never realize a homie like me was watching from the sidelines and was just a fan of the movies, and realized that when I started really counting on the films that I really watched with Zack Snyder, I was in fact a fan of his work. You know what I mean? Only one movie wasn't his best that everyone likes to crap on, Sucker Punch, and I kind of liked it. It wasn't his best film, but I liked it. And it is what it is. So, like, now, are you hurting WB by turning around and say we're going to boycott the Batman? Is that really what we want to do? Or are we now no different than the same people that used to like to, as everyone likes to use the word, grift off of shitting on Zack Snyder joints? You know how many videos I've seen people just try to shit on it back when it was cool to shit on his films? And some people still come out here and want to do it because, and it's no longer about Zack Snyder now. A lot of this is about they don't too care for the Snyder quote unquote cult. And do I think it's a cult? I don't think it's a cult, but I do think there's an eccentric bunch. You know, I think a lot of people do it more for entertainment value, talking like shit talking, but they don't understand that shit talking rabble rouses a lot. And then everybody starts to, you know, pull strings on how far that can go. And then people will make their channels talking about it. I'm no different. I'm talking about it. This is something that's in the talk. This might get the views. You know what I'm saying? And maybe by bringing people over to this side to look at it, maybe you want to take a look at all the other content that I do have on here. Even if you want to just talk about actually about the art and how you can get close to like get some logos and stuff. Like I'm connected to a lot of things that can happen, man. Just let me know. You know what I'm saying? Cause like I'm surrounded by nothing but dope artists that can get things done for you guys. So even if you just like I leave a lot of links at the end, man. Even if you want to scroll to the end just to find out how to get in contact with some of the art people that I'm associated with, you know what I mean? All the different independent companies that I work with. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a smorgasbord out here, baby. Like, I'm trying to get it out here to let y'all know. Like if you want to get into this and you want to get a logo done, you could do that. You know what I mean? But again, this is all still business. Everybody wants to do business. When you refer to certain things about yourself as a brand, you're already thinking like a business. So you can't get mad that this business is trying to maximize the most on getting the most out of it. And there's a lot of people that kept saying follow the Marvel way, the Marvel way. Snyder was very anti-Marvel, and not in a negative way. He wanted to be different than Marvel. He wanted to separate his universe from what else you've been seeing with Marvel, because what Marvel was doing was Marvel's thing. They wanted to be DC and brand themselves very different, but at the same time, DC would love to do that if it would make the money and beyond. But they were expecting way more and kept changing up the plan all the time instead of sticking to one thing, and maybe you would have snowballed it into what you needed it to be. You know what I'm saying? But no one will know it. Hindsight is 2020, and they're about the Fetty. Everybody's trying to get next to the scratch that bread. So what do you think people are going to do? They're going to make a hard pivot. I wouldn't like it. I thought we were doing good, and we were. But they kept being too reactionary and kept wanting to play into different tropes and trying to keep one up. And instead of focusing on what you guys want to do, the stories you wanted to tell, you was trying too hard to get to the Avengers. So let's get to the Justice League. And if you would have done it organically, you might have gotten to it. But make no mistake, studio interference works when it needs to, because my man, even though Zach is the homie, and I understood the kind of like story he wanted to have a begin, middle, and he did wanted Robin to be like, I'm talking Dick Grayson to have been the one that died. You know what I'm saying? That's what he wanted. Studios didn't want that. He wanted Batman to die. Studios didn't want that. I know he wanted to have it so that Lois and Batman had a moment when they thought that Batman was gone and they were dealing with each other, and when Superman comes back and she's pregnant, it turns out to be really Batman's son, and eventually Superman knows him and he ends up being Batman at the end. I get that kind of story, not the story I wanted. I wanted an ongoing series like Marvel. I'm not even gonna lie. But I get it though. He wanted to do something different, and I would have judged the film on its own. I would have still preferred it to be along where he's keeping it now. What should he continue the universe, because a lot of things change. Even his ideas of how when he was able to do some of the reshoots and he wanted to do the 4-hour long version of the film, he changed and massaged certain things so he can make the story the way he wanted it to be. How it was originally written was changed. So at the end of the day, things are gonna grow and grow with it. And so at the end of the day, working in tandem with the studios is the reason why you would have kept the long going story. That's not what Zach wanted. So remember, this is the same studio y'all hating on. And remember, I'm a Zach fan. I don't like the fact that he made Gotham City right across the bay or the river from fucking Metropolis. But I understood what he was trying, the dichotomy he was trying to put under with the undertone, like Gotham is the darker part of the place of the city that people don't really go to. Metropolis is over here, like a city across the bay, and they're a little bit more upscale. Y'all don't come to Gotham. I get what you was trying to sell. I would have preferred it be in another state, way further away, because to me, if Superman could do what he can do, he could just fly over the bay and you won't need a Batman. And he'll always be there because he's tracking him as a reporter. Like I said, I just felt like I would have preferred, but I get the underline he was trying to do. But guess what? I still love the movie BVS. I really do. I really like that movie. Man, it still is still my favorite. But I really love that movie. And just like Zack Snyder's Justice League, that's my shit. Like, I fuck with it. That's my joint. Like, I can't always watch it because it'll take me away from what I gotta do. So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? But anytime I get a chance, so I try to watch it in parts because I really enjoy that film. So at the end of the day, you know what I mean? We don't have to be negative about it. You see how I express, and I still love Zack Snyder's film, but I could critique it directly. People didn't want to do that. They want to say, you know, I like what another YouTuber referred it to as. It's a 0 or 100. Anything less than 100 is like they treat it like it's a 0. Oh, it's trash. It's trash, and it's like, whoa. like you got dudes saying like it's 80 out of 100, man. It's trash. 80 out of 100. It's a C-. That's not that bad. Why everything got to be an A+ to even be respected? If it's a B-, oh, it's still bad. And it's like, oh, because it's not like Marvel movies. And it's like, come on, man. Like, why can't we just enjoy the films? And now we're starting to breed that within the fandom. The fandom is starting to breed that type of energy, and they're trying to give it back. And it's a tit for tat type of thing. And again, now that it's no longer has anything to do with Zack Snyder, it's bigger than Zack Snyder. I remember seeing, I didn't really follow it too much, but I remember seeing like either it was a headline or a thumbnail talking about, and I think even someone mentioned it, how like they had videos posted talking about people turning on Zack Snyder. I didn't even want to look at it. I was like, it wouldn't have surprised me. You know why? Because this is what like when you go into the realm of fanatic. You know what I mean? Some dudes are over labeling it like a cult, but that's not what it is. And that's when people start doing too much. It's like people being online, like internet gangsters and shit like that. Like, come the fuck on with that. You online, you gonna bang online, like let's knock that shit way the fuck off, cause that's just too easy to do. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what energy you could get out of it. You feel me? But I get it. A lot of people, they feel away, but I think it's something else that is deeper. A lot of people found a lot of friendships and a real, you know what I mean, relevance around this. You know what I'm saying? It was like the underdog finally got their voices heard, and people don't want to let go of that feeling. Because I think a lot of people didn't think it was ever going to happen. When it happened, it was like people don't want to let go of that feeling of winning, being vindicated. And then you got people that was out here banging for this film so much that when you finally get what you want, you have nothing else to bang for. So restore the Snyderverse. And it's like, all right, cool. Now everybody want to be antagonistic with it. Now everybody G'd up behind it. And it's like, why? Another gentleman had mentioned about boycotting. Now, like, boycotting the Batman, I'm not mad at. If this is the only way to get your voices heard, fine. We're here now. There was ways around it that we could have gotten it done. And I may make just a talk about that separate, because I want to stay here for a little bit. Because I think a lot of times we as tubers forget that we are, at the end of the day, I hate to say leaders, but in a way, even though without trying. It's the reason why we put salacious clickbait titles. Because we want to seduce people to come on in. We might do certain things to make you, draw you into it, and then finally give you what you want, but we still got to be business minded about it, because you get it off the views, the durations. This is what we do. Those that have integrity won't change at what they do, even if they don't get views, because as far as they're concerned, this is what I'm gonna do. Some people want this to be a business. I had to say one time in the comment section when people was like, oh, well, you got to do this, and it's like, I mean, let's be for real. People, if like coming at people for doing things, they just doing it for the money. I'm like, well, let's be for real. Everybody's going to try and want to get money off of this. Like, and so if you could do this for a living, you would. Let's not act like that. Because then now you're no different than the other person. Be honest and stand on that. Now it's like, so is this about being the integrity police? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna go around and say, oh, well, because someone's gonna watch the Batman movie, oh, you don't have no integrity for standing by Zack Snyder? No, I still want the Snyderverse to come, but I still am a comic book fan, and that's the thing that I don't understand. Are you more a comic book fan than a Snyder person? And if it's all about the principalities, I'm not mad at it, because I won't take nothing away from nobody's principles. I'm not trying to do that. But the venom behind it is like, we don't really know Zack Snyder. Like, you know, we don't know him personally. We understand what happened with him, and we got what we wanted. He got his story, told the film. Now we wanted more. And you're willing to curse people out for more? When they gave you what more than likely under no other circumstances we would have never have gotten. Now this is going to be looked at as something not to give, because they might have given us the air cut. Don't be surprised if you don't ever see the air cut, because if they don't continue the Snyderverse, because they're going to say, see, this is why we didn't want to do it. They won't let us do more, and this is where all the negativity comes from. And you have people like bringing people in and rabble rousing people to boycott the WB. And it's like, you could have saved a lot of hassle had you handled this differently. We could have, as Snydercut people. if you will. And make no mistake, for all you people that's gonna say and be like, well, not me, bro. I don't even fit the design of a lot of the shit that I'm talking about, but it exists. Let's be for real amongst us. So, and if you're a Snydercut person and you ride it, and you ride with it when you want to ride with it, you want to jump off when you don't want to deal with the consequences of that label. Look, man, I rock with it. I jack the hashtag, but there's people that's rock jacking that hashtag that's making it a bad look. That's over promoting the antagonistic level of this. That's kind of pushing something that makes it negative, and it exists. And there's nothing wrong with, there's some YouTubers that go out there and call it out, and I respect that. But then there's also some that don't realize that those that call it out go so far as you start to become exactly what you're fighting against. And let's get beyond that. Sometimes people gotta understand the mind of the business, just like how you treat your YouTube channels, and you try and change up the titles for something more clickbaity or what have you, to get the clicks, get people to come. We look at our analytics for a reason, because so when we could try things out and we see the analytics and you realize, so it puts you in control of the business. What do you think that Walter Hamada and them are trying to do? Now, I'll be honest with you, I think it's personal with Hamada, and that'll be something that I was thinking about doing down the line on another Just to Talk. Stay tuned, man. I'm going to be doing this a lot, and if you guys like it, and I'm seeing, like I said, the business doing Just to Talk has been getting me a lot more views on a channel that is still ghost town. What do you think I'm going to do? A lot more Just to Talks. It took a lot of time for me to, you know what I mean, go in and produce a lot of these videos. I got a lot of stuff recorded that it takes more time for me to produce when I do so much. So in order for me to stay in the talk and let you know I'm in the loop, I do Just to Talk because it's easier for me to produce. I could put these out there ahead while I'm doing other joints, and that's going to take me a little bit more time. And then I got other things that I do, and then, you know, we work out here, B. What do you think we do this for? So eventually we could do something like this full time, so we could get the super chats and yada yada yada, and the ad revenue. And to be honest, those that take ad revenue, you guys are no different than the corporate structure you fight against, because you got to watch how you talk, because you might lose your sponsors and you won't get demonetized. Those people that just say, yo, I'm 100% crowdfunded, you got to put a lot more respect on their name, because they're a direct reflection of their audience. It is what it is, and they go right to the source. I'm not making videos so I can stifle myself up just so I can get the ad revenue. I'd rather get it from the people that support me. 100%. That's integrity. It's integrity to me if you're about your business. I'm about my business. You standing on something, you got integrity in it. Yo, I'm a business. I do business, but you're honest to who you are. That's where the integrity lies. And again, I'm not saying that you guys that boycotting it are not integral to it, to what you want. But make no mistake, it doesn't mean that you're any more different than somebody else that will go out to watch it. I think the integrity lies in the reasoning behind why you do what you do. So if and what you stand for, and if you like to say I stand on my words, then you have to stand all the way, and I'll judge your integrity based on your words, because that's where your integrity is gonna lie, in being true to who you are, and standing on what you're about, and what you say you're about. And I think if we were trying to restore the Snyderverse, the one thing we weren't supposed to do was feed into the label of toxicity. There was no way, under no circumstances, should people be talking about the Snydercut being a negative fandom. And we had that for a minute. When it dropped, it was under a month. Once the Restore the Snydercut came, then extra beef came with it. And it was bad enough that there were outliers out there just fucking up the name already. Now it was people legitimately that were a lot more positive. Now they, like I said, for other reasonings. And when you have nothing else to fight for, you need something to fight for. And then it takes on a life of its own. You have a boogeyman, and you have people you could be next to that you could fight the boogeyman, as in Walter Hamada, or whatever name you would have chose. It's just that Walter Hamada happens to be the captain right now, and he's not doing the Snydercut. That's why he's sitting there. Or rather, he's not doing anything Snyder driven. That's why he's sitting there. Because when Snyder was there, enough of us wasn't out there making sure that it got the got great press. And I'll be real with you again, it was everybody comparing it towards what Marvel and the MCU did 6 years already in. I forget how many films they had already out by then, and still had more. So we got to be honest about certain things. So will this boycott work? Is this in our favor? I don't know that it is, because you boycott the Batman, then there's no more Batman movies for a minute till they regroup. That doesn't necessarily mean they'll jump back to Ben Affleck, because we've done so much. We're going to need to really rehab and rebrand how we push this moving forward for those that are the leaders in this YouTuber community that's about this Zack Snyder appreciation. Your channel should have more talks about what you love about the film and video essays. And you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with talking about news that run counter to what you want, but you should always keep it positive and then keep it moving. And then you shouldn't have too many videos with it. And if you just loan a hashtag to let people know it's out there, because I just dropped the hashtag. I don't do too much with it, but whatever I can do to support, I still got my HBO Max, and I try to watch it so they can get my views. And I actually like this, on the Snydercut. I really do. So at the end of the day, it ain't nothing for me and I got HBO Max. I got other stuff I could watch on there. It's cool. It ain't breaking my wallet. That's like the only thing that I actually went out that streaming service to get. And I'm okay with that for now. And I had it since the Snyder Cut came out. Why? Because I like the Snyder Cut. That's it. I kept it because I wanted it, and then because I like it, I kept it. And like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to just be more fans, well, you know what? Be yourself. I'm not knocking it. Me, I'm a fan of these comic book movies. I'm a geek first over this shit. Then everything else comes after it. I'm a geek about good movies too. Then everything else come after it. Everything is everything. You know what I'm saying? I like Batman. Yes, I'm sad I don't have the bat flick. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to go see this new Batman. I shouldn't have to be that way. But it's all about behind the reason and the intent behind this, because I'm more about these characters coming to life and the direction they go with it. And Matt Reeves' direction isn't too far. It's in the vein of Zack Snyder meets Christopher Nolan, and leaning more into the like Seven type style in this film. And that's why I'm not mad at it. I want to see it. It looks dope. I would have rather gotten Ben Affleck's joint with Deathstroke, but this will hold me over for now. And if it's not good, it's not good. Then we could talk about it not being good. But we shouldn't go out there, and if it fails, ha ha ha, because this is where the fandom is going. Ha ha, I told you it ain't shit, woo, and it gets more toxic. And then everybody wants to laugh and get their pound of flesh and think that's gonna bring the your milkshake is gonna bring out all the guys to the yard. Your milkshake ain't gonna bring WB to the yard. Ain't gonna bring the execs to the yard. Your milkshake is spoiled, bro. You out here making a whole insulting and disrespecting people's names and putting it on their name. And you think they want to give that fandom anything? Think about it. You get more bees with honey. And we better be glad that Discovery is buying this. Had the WB still been in charge, we would look like buffoons. And that's my point. We're not being strategic. We're not being smart. We're not selling ourselves, putting our best foot forwards as a fandom, as a representation of. We want to be antagonistic. We want to, when we go on panels, you know, you're going to have to go up through an uphill battle now, because now there's a lot of money at the moment in saying, hey, it's a lost cause. And when the reason why I say a lot of money, I'm just saying it's a fraction of the community. And when they go to their respective corners on YouTube, what do you think is happening? People are going to tip more because they want to talk about this, because they're on your side or they're on the other guy's side. No different, and it's a business. And we're going to keep it going. And they're going to keep loving it until they stop loving it anymore. And then guess what? You're going to look at your analytics and move on from that topic, because now that topic dried up. Feel what I'm saying now? And then it goes back to it being a business. And it's because it's a business, the only way to affect it, vote with your wallet. I think that there's just a way that you could boycott it without making and keeping it a peaceful vibe, without going and proselytizing. Don't see this movie. Just be like, hey, we're not gonna see this movie. And those that want to see the bad flick, we don't know. Y'all could have did several other things to market it in such a way to the WB with no malice, but still peacefully letting people know that we're gonna peacefully fall back from this film, respectfully, you know. And the next thing you know, if they'd have noticed, the numbers are falling, but every time they say anything positive about the Snydercut or anything Snydercut driven that may even fall out of HBO Max will get the most likes, the most. If they'll pay attention, the business will pay attention to where the money's at. And I think that as Snydercut fans, we have to really be pushing this film and proselytizing how good this film is. Like, I didn't even do a review on it yet. And this movie been out for a minute. Now, I got my life going on, but at the end of the day, I kept pushing it back because I wanted to take my time with that one. And, you know, what they say about procrastination, and, you know, we're the leaders of tomorrow. And, you know, you get caught up in life. But I'm supposed to keep on selling this movie to other people and marketing it because my enthusiasm around it is sincere. And maybe it'll be infectious for other people who want to be like, yo, this dude is way too hype about this movie. Let me go see it. That's what we were supposed to do. And then we were supposed to try to mend those bridges between studio and fans. And then the thing with Ray Fisher didn't help, because Ray Fisher got his fans and they're gonna go ride for him. And how they decide to ride may not be exactly peaceful. And again, like I said, and then now his fans are marketing themselves bad towards DC, and then because he's kind of pushing it, it just looks like it just looks like a quagmire and a mess that no one wants to deal with no more. They want to start from a clean slate. Don't be surprised if you're going to see a new Wonder Woman entering Matt Reeves' universe, unless Matt Reeves specifically says, I just want to keep this Batman. In that case, unless all the reports are true that Henry Cavill's holding out on more money and yada yada yada, I just don't see why anyone would aggressively not want to do another Superman movie. I know a lot of people feel like they don't know how to approach it, but you could get someone. I remember when Matthew Vaughn was talking about he wanted to do one, or his name was Coin, the guy that did was it The Queen's Guard or something like that? What the hell is that called? King's Guard. You feel me? And cause he did the X-Men First Class. I was like, if he does a Superman, I wouldn't have been mad at it. I thought that he could handle that. I would prefer Zach do the Man of Steel too. But if there was no one else to get, if they was gonna pivot, I was mildly interested. Cause I figured after X-Men First Class, you seen what he did with the Kingsman. At least the first one, I didn't see that other one, nor the prequel. I was like, you know what? I think he might do a decent job, but I still prefer Zach. But you gotta. But what you gonna do? You're not gonna watch these movies anymore unless it's Zach. If that's the case, then we should be supporting everything that Zack Snyder does. That means going on Netflix, talking about this, talking about that. Why the DCEU? Just that. It's because we're projecting a little bit more than what meets the eye. It's the underdog syndrome now. Now that the underdog won, now we want to fight dirty like that. We're gonna start employing dirty tactics that people were employing on us. That made us the underdog. You feel me? And I hope that makes sense. The boycott, I'm not against it. I support it if you feel like you want. That's the only way you could get your voice heard. I'm not boycotting. I'm just gonna keep talking the Snydercut, talking it up. I want to do video essays on it, and I want to branch out from that and discuss lesser known projects. I want to do a lot more with the channel. But I started off of a Man of Steel video, and why I liked it because I didn't understand why people shitted on Man of Steel. So I made a video about it, and that started my trip down this lane. But I want to keep it positive. I want to, and again, and I'll do a video on it about how and why they won't do it. Why they wouldn't want to keep the Snyderverse going. And it's going to be interesting to see your guys' comments in the comments below about it. Anyways, without further ado, we're at the close of this. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Jump in the talk. You already know what it is. It's your boy No. And like, share, subscribe. See you next time. And as always, till I have a better outro. Chill.